Hello viewers and welcome to the round 12 edition of NFL Web TV. I'm your host again, Samuel Zito, joined by Liam Quinn, who's back after a week's break in Quinny. It was a big weekend of football, not as close as what we got the week before, but still a good round all in all.
Yeah, not as many sort of nail-biting contests, but still a good week of footy.
Well, it's another big weekend this week. We start first of all at Para Road, where Montmorency plays North Heidelberg. Now, it's not only a clash between two old rivals, it's also a big game in terms of Monty raising a lot of money for charity. They're playing for two foundations on the weekend. It's for Beyond Blue and also the White Ribbon campaign. And it's a fantastic weekend organised at Montmorency. They've got a business lunch on Friday, which will have the likes of Nathan Thompson and Luke Brennan, who's former footballer as well, and also part of the White Ribbon campaign. Also got Angry Anderson down there, so a fair few big names down in Montmorency on the Friday. On the Saturday as well, they're having the big charity day where they're going to have rides and all other things to entertain the kids. They've got big raffles as well, so get down there and support the cause. All proceeds go to the two charities that I just mentioned, so the club's not profiting at all. It's a great day. Both clubs will wear alternate troops for the day, and I think $300 each jumper is being sponsored. The sponsor will have their name on the back, and all proceeds once again go to charity. So make sure, if you are doing nothing on Saturday, you get down to Para Road and watch what will be a great day. And they've already raised about $14,000 at the club themselves, and they're hoping to get it to 20. So we encourage everyone to get down. But on the field is what we're going to analyse, and I guess Montmorency, another win on the weekend. They started the year in poor fashion with four losses to start the year, but since then they're back in form and there's still a genuine chance of making the finals after beating Greensborough on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. They've, as we all said, sort of similar to Heidelberg. They had very, very poor starts, and everyone was surprised that both teams got off to slow starts, but then they really hit some form, as you said, and they're really in danger of maybe sneaking into the bottom of the finals, because I think they're 5 and 6. I think it's
5 and 6 now. So and I guess on Saturday you'd imagine they would beat North Heidelberg. They're trying hard on the weekend. Shane Harvey kicked another 6 goals. So he's kicked 14 in the past 2 weeks since returning. Phenomenal effort, and hopefully if you can get a few more players around him, they can get a win sooner rather than later. But again, another big loss in the end, 80 plus points against Northcote Park, who's a pretty good team, and very hard to match up against with any other side as well. But with the troubles North Heidelberg's having at the moment, the job's made even more difficult. Monty led for the first part against Greensborough. Actually went behind just prior to three-quarter time, went down trailed by 8 points, and then in the last quarter kicked 5 consecutive goals to all but end the game. But Lindback with 4, O'Meara with 4, and again James Brooker, who we mentioned almost every week in this program, a young kid who's coming to the team, taking the competition by storm. So a good effort there by Monty, and you'd imagine that would be too strong for North Heidelberg on Saturday.
Yeah, you'd think even though North Heidelberg are sort of slowly getting better as the season goes on, I think that against the sort of up and coming and improving Monty side, they'll be a bit outmatched, I think.
Well, the next game is Bundoora and Whittlesea. Up until last week, Whittlesea have been really competitive in all their losses to date. They're sitting second bottom of the ladder, 3 wins. I guess probably only 2 weeks ago their final chances were finally extinguished. Playing some good footy, really matched against the really good sides, and only a week prior lost by only 3 points against Greensborough at War Memorial Park. But on Saturday they hosted Heidelberg, and they got a fair old drubbing, leading by 4 goals at quarter time. Ended up losing by 103 points, and I guess they were undermanned. No Fairchild, Page was in there, and a few others. So I think they had 6 changes from the week before, and you bring in a few kids as well. Did well in the first quarter to lead. It was a strong breeze blowing, but after quarter time, I think 25 goals to 3, and not what the Eagles were after last weekend.
Yeah, and it was even when you count actually the total scoring shots. They were 36 to 12 after quarter time. So triple the scoring shots for Heidelberg was always going to sort of get out of hand and things. But as you said, Whittlesea have been pretty good all year, and obviously coming up from the second division, they'd be pretty happy with their season so far. Obviously that loss hurts it a bit, but it probably would have been what you predicted anyway. So. Well,
this week I'm sure they'll be keen to bounce back this week. I don't think they can get the points against Bundoora, but I definitely expect a better effort, and I think it'll be much closer. Bundoora though last weekend they lost the week prior to Heidelberg, and it really they really clicked in the gear on the weekend, and a big win over McLeod. Expected that one to be a lot closer. In the end, a 10-goal plus win, but when the likes of Moorcroft kick 6, Harrison kick 6, Cloak gets amongst the goals as well, it's always going to be pretty difficult, and McLeod just can't take that form away from home. I guess that form at home rather away from home, and Bundoora on their home ground. They're a good outfit, and you'd imagine against Whittlesea at home again, they'll probably just extend their lead on top of the ladder.
Yeah, you think it should be a pretty good win for the Bulls. They should, pretty comfortably do that one. And then it doesn't really get any easier for Whittlesea having Northcote Park and then travelling to McLeod the week after. So 4 weeks of some pretty tough footy for Whittlesea.
Yeah, Todd doesn't get easier, as you said. West Preston takes on Greensborough in the third game of the weekend, and this is really going to be an absolute cracker. It's second up against fourth, and up until last week, Greensborough hadn't slipped out of the top four at any stage this year. It's happened now after a loss on the weekend to Monty. West Preston, mind you, just winning their 7th game on the trot on the weekend again. They just finding a way to win each week against Alpha. They really tested for most of the day. They were in control of the game and never headed, or never really looked like losing that last quarter, despite the closeness of the game. And Billy Morrison with 4 goals was probably the best on ground again. And we saw him 2 weeks ago when he played up against Northcote Park, and he didn't. Well, I don't think he dominated the game, but he's just one of those players where you can just put him anywhere and you know he's going to do a job. Just one of those players that each team needs, and Jake Williams was fantastic again, so he's back in form. Greensborough wasn't terrible in their loss at all. They struggled in the first quarter, were travelling by, I think, about 28 points at quarter time. Really worked their way back into the game. Tim Bongetti was fantastic again, kicked 5 goals, and young Josh Grubb kicked 5 as well, so they kicked 10 between them there, so they've shown they can still kick some scores, 16 goals for the week, and they've been known for high scoring games actually across the year. They actually, I think, preferred lower scoring games, but on the weekend showed they can still kick a high enough score, just unfortunately in that it started the last quarter, they just weren't right up to it, and Monty ran over them. But away from home, and they'll get Aaron Burns back this week, they'll definitely give themselves a really good chance of winning this one. Only lost to West Preston by 10 points last time. I think at J.E. Moore, West Preston will win, but I'm not 100% confident. I really think this one shouldn't be decided by any more than 10 points either way.
Yeah, Burns is a massive inclusion again for Greensborough this week. They've really missed not only his ability to kick goals, but his sort of toughness and attack in that forward half of the ground. The few times I've seen Greensborough play, he just chases and tackles and hits all through the attacking half of the ground. So massive win for them, and maybe Riddle might be back this week as well. I'm not sure why he's missed the last couple of weeks, but he'd be another one that'd be pretty desperate to get back. But I think they actually might be able to get a win, Greensborough. I think nothing again, like West Preston have been fantastic all year, and they'll definitely be one of the top sides come the end of the year. But Greensborough we've seen this year have played really well against the top sides when that great win out against Bundoora a couple of weeks ago. So they've shown they can match it and really step up to the big occasion. And I think they just might be able to get past West Preston this week. Well,
it would break a 7-game winning streak for West Preston, and I guess it's a massive game because the Roosters second on the ladder, only percentage behind ladder leader Bundoora. But for Greensborough to keep in touch and hopefully for them to get a top 2 spot come final time, they must win this game on the weekend, and I'm sure they won't be lost on them. So it'll be a cracking game. Next up should be another one that should be really close. It's Eltham up against McLeod, and it felt like only yesterday we watched that in the NFL match of the day. I think it was already back in round 7, about 5 or 6 weeks ago already, when McLeod won basically with the last kick of the game. Of course, as we know, Eltham had the shot right in the siren, touched on the goal line, and they don't get the win. The Stuart Lane kick, as I said, touching the line as it was going through. So McLeod by a point to Winton. This time around, back you go to Eltham Central Park. Both sides in desperate need of a win. Eltham particularly, I think if they lose this one, it's a really tough month of football coming ahead, as we mentioned in the program last week. Some really big clashes for them coming up where they take on all the teams inside the top 5, and must-win game. I think McLeod hasn't been able to take its form, as I mentioned before, from home away from their home ground. I think they can actually I really do think they can actually win this week against Eltham. I think if they do, as I mentioned, I don't think Eltham will have any chance of playing finals. Should they lose this one, it'll be a close game, imagine again. But the likes of Carl was unstoppable last time these two teams played. Only kicked 2 on the weekend. He'll want to bounce back. Kane Shaw was good again last week despite the loss. But they did lose Simon Lovett down to injury, so if he doesn't play this week, it gives a chance for Keenan or Paul Curry to be even more dominant up forward. So I reckon it's going to be a game where either side, whoever's forward dominates more, might win, because it could be a shootout between Keenan and Core, and also you get Curry up there, and there's a few others for either side who can keep some goals. But Eltham probably just struggling a bit of late. McLeod's been in good form until last weekend, and I really think they can win this one at Eltham Central Park.
Yeah, the biggest worry for Eltham would be when we spoke to the coaches about it before their last game, and then Eltham actually got it happen. They let McLeod get a bit of a jump on them early, and then it was just too much for them to pull back in, so they'll be desperate not to let that happen again. And as you said, with the next month they've got coming up, and you think they've got Heidelberg, Bundoora, Greensborough and Northcote Park in the next 4 weeks. If they lost this one, it would be pretty much, you'd think it'd probably be the end of their final chance. So they'll be really pushing hard the Panthers, but I think McLeod might actually might get the job done. But it'll be another another pretty tight contest, you'd think.
Well, you look at it, I guess, as well, and the spot as the two sides who are outside the top five at the moment in Altham. Pardon me, there is three: Altham, McLeod, and Monty. The spot probably a chance for only one of those to make the finals, if any of them can make it. And you look at it, if they were to lose this one, they've lost 2 games to McLeod already this year with them. Giving McLeod 8 points to 0. Lost to Monty the week before, so those sides who they're really challenging against to make the top 5, they lose games to them. They're really not doing their chances any favours, and it is a big game. I mean, mind you, they'll probably now that I've said that, they'll probably come out and win this week and change everything completely. But I think if should McLeod win this one, and we do expect Monty to win their game against North Heidelberg, there probably only 7 teams a viable chance of making the finals this year. The final game of the round in Division 1 is the NFL Match of the Day. We're back at Bill Laurie Oval again this weekend. It's North Heidelberg hosting Heidelberg, and it's going to be an absolute cracker. The last time these two teams played, Northcote Park really touched Heidelberg up. I think they won by 50 points in the end, but they only conceded 1 goal up until 3/4 time, and really got the job done quite easily, despite having quite a poor record against Heidelberg in recent times. Since then, it hasn't been the same Northcote Park outfit, unfortunately, and they've really struggled. I think they only won one of their past 4 games, and they had a win last week, so they're back in the winners. There's 3 losses before that. Heidelberg, as they showed last week, they're keen to atone for that poor start to the year. 100-point winners against Whittlesea. They're coming in good form. Craig Whelan booted 11 goals, Favre kicked 4, and also we had Caddy and also Blair Harvey in the best. So there are the brains trust and the blokes who have done it all before with those premiership wins. They're all back in good form, and they're really going to take it up to Northcote Park this week. I think we'll learn a lot more about Northcote Park this week and where they're really at. We saw them 2 weeks ago and they lost gallantly to West Preston, but they need to turn those kind of results into wins, and they'll know that. A win this weekend gives them a chance to make the top 3 once again. Should they lose, Heidelberg goes even further in front in 3rd place, and it makes it tough for the Cougars to push into the top 3. So they'll know that, and I really don't know who actually tipping this one. I'm actually leaning slightly towards Northcote Park just because they won that earlier encounter. They might have learned a few things, but at the same time, with that in mind, Heidelberg's going to be fueled by that loss and really hungry to atone for it. And I can't see, like the West Preston and Greensborough game, I can't see this one decided by more than 2 goals either way.
Yeah, it's amazing. Obviously, said with Northcote, if they win, they can stay in touch with the top 3. But if they lose, and they really open the door for McLeod and for Montmorency to sort of sneak in and maybe take that bottom spot in the finals coming the end of the season. So massive game for Northcote Park. Obviously, Heidelberg's a big encounter. They'd be happy they got the win with them for the first. I think when they beat them at the start of the year, it was the first win for a few years.
I think it might have been about 8 years. I think actually
broke a bit of a drought. And I think there'd be, as I said, there'd be a lot of Heidelberg players would be a bit upset and would be hurt by that. So they'll come out firing this weekend. As I said as well, all their best players are starting to get back into it with your Murphys and your Favrens and Harvey and Caddy and that sort of thing. So really ominous form for Heidelberg. I think they've been worrying a lot of teams in the NFL at the moment. I think they will just sneak past Northcote, and then it really puts the blowtorch on Northcote in the last few weeks for the finals.
Well, you can read more about Quinny's thoughts on the game in this week's record. It's also online with Mighty's match preview. But as you mentioned, it is pretty interesting because should Northcote Park lose and either McLeod or Monty win, they'll be on equal points with Northcote with 6 wins each. And I think Northcote Park will still stay in the 5, just purely on their strong percentage. But at the same time, should the result go the other way, they can actually push probably into the top 3 where they'll be the same points as Heidelberg. I guess a lot depends on how the West Preston Greensborough result goes, but they'll probably push into the top 4 at least and look set for a massive campaign come final time. So a lot is hinging on just this one game of football, so it should be an absolute cracker. Make sure you're tuning into 88.6 Plenty Valley FM from 1 p.m. when myself, Quinny, John Seaton and Sam Patrick are going to call all the action on the previous show at 1 o'clock, and then I guess from 10 past 2 we'll call all the action from what should be an absolutely great game. And I know Caesar's excited down there, and we're all excited.
He's always excited.
And when it comes to Northcote Park, he'll be happy about it. But it should be, as we said, a great game. So make sure you are tuning in, and we look forward to bringing you all the action. Thank you for your time at the moment. Just check the video below. We'll preview all of Division 2 and Division 3. Thanks for your time, and see you soon.